everyone, I'm back. I know it's been a while since I uploaded. I think the last time I uploaded was January. Did I just say January? I meant July, when my mom and I went to Gettysburg, and wow. We went to a few new places that we've never been before, and one of them was a murder house, which is what I called it, because somebody was actually murdered in that house. Nothing really happened paranormal wise, but we got a few things on the voice box, as you probably saw if you watched my last video. I'm still trying to figure out how to collab, well, add videos with other videos, split them. I don't know, I'm still learning this stuff, even though I've been on YouTube, I would say a year? Wow, it's already been a year because, wow, okay. Weird things have been happening in my house lately. I'm not gonna say all of it is paranormal because most likely it's not. But, weird smells are coming from the basement, which my whole family, including myself, think it's just old stuff. And we think it's in the laundry room. We can't really figure out what it is because the washer and the dryer are pretty much brand new. And the refrigerator and freezer though in the basement are old. The refrigerator is newer than the freezer, so maybe that's it. But we really don't know, and earlier today we heard something fall or sliding down something. We still don't know what it is. And every now and then I keep hearing my name being called, and my mom is back at school, so I'm like, every time I'm home alone or the only one awake, crap like this happens. Like, okay, as you can see, my ghost shirt on the back that says, well, you can't really see that. Making them ghosts. That was an orb. And I cannot say that there's a bug in here because I would have either seen it or felt it or heard it. And nothing happened other than phew. So, yeah, I mean, it's getting close to the holidays, which a lot of family members like to stop by. So, that must be why they're coming, because winter is sadly on its way. But, anyway, with that being said, let's continue our Washington Seattle tour. And maybe in the next few weeks, if I remember to post, we'll be somewhere else. But, let's get started. The Comet Lawn Cemetery is one of Seattle's secret haunted cemeteries located in Beacon Hill. Some of the city's earliest settlers were buried here in the late 1800s. And before that, it was a burial ground for the Dwasmits tribe. If I pronounced anything wrong in advance, I apologize. Due to the neglect of city officials, it was almost lost back in the pages of history. The city dug up a part of the graveyard disintegrating tombstone and overturning human remains, all to build a few houses and a dog park. That's normally how it begins. Thanks to the effort of several concerned residents, the Comet Lawn Cemetery was saved. Out of the over 500 people buried in the cemetery, only a handful of graves remain. The spirits of the Dwasmits and the early pioneer families are definitely displeased with the current state of their burial site. Ghosts are often make their appearance known in the area. Some of the nearby residents have even reported strange paranormal events in their homes. That's because y'all buried a housing development and a dog park on top of the cemetery, but was technically not moved. That's like a horror movie all in itself. Lights, lights flickering on and off, disembodied voices, and full-on apparitions. Before Seattle was Seattle, the area was home to indigenous peoples who are part of the coastal Salish tribes of the Pacific Northeast. In 1800, the area now around Graham and 23rd Avenue was designated the old burial grounds for the Drumoxis Nation. As white settlers poured into the Punjab South region, there was an increasing need for burial plots and cemeteries to bury their dead. In the 1880s, the land encompassing the burial site was sold to the Maple family, one of the first pioneer families to arrive, landing on the boat on Alki Beach. At first, the Maple family used the plot as their own personal graveyard, though other pioneer families had their bodies buried there as well. The land was divided up in 1908, with the part of it being sold. Burial plots were then sold to pioneer families until the 1930s, when the cemetery fell into disuse. By then, over 450 pioneers, along with hundreds of the Rocksmith tribespeople, have been buried in the Comet Lawn Cemetery. The burial site was primarily used for residents of Beacon Hill in Georgetown, which at one point was a single uninterrupted neighborhood. When Interstate 5 was built in the later half of the 20th century, it isolated Georgetown from the rest of the city, and Comet Lawn Cemetery ended up right in the cannot say that word, of the freeway. The cemetery remained unused and fell into neglect. Grass and weeds have grown over much of the area. It wasn't until 1980 that the city was explaining that the Comet Lawn Cemetery had begun to come back in the public eye. Whether out of neglect or pure ignorance, parts of the cemetery were demolished to make room for 11 homes. Headstones were removed and destroyed. Though some still litter in the area, graves were exhumed and disintegrated. So sewage pipes were laid there where bodies once rested. Parts of the area was designed as a dog park. The city tore apart a burial site for the sake of development. They claimed that they had no knowledge that there was ever a graveyard in the area, despite the 1950 press release from the city government acknowledging the existence of the Comet Lodge. But while Seattle city officials attempted to hide their own history, the memories of those whose ancestors were buried there weren't easily forgotten. A few knew about the burial site, except for some of the Seattle's long-standing residences. In other words, those whose families had been buried long ago. The continued development of Beacon Hill spurred activism around the Comet Lodge, led by people who wanted to preserve their family heritage. Ron Nicholson was one of them. Nicholson had an ancestor buried in Comet Lodge. An early mayor of the town, I've forgotten all about this because I haven't posted in a while. And I swear to God, this isn't the name of the town. Mayor of the town of South Park, which had now been absurd in the city of Seattle. So if you all know, there is a fictional town in Colorado named South Park. What? And actually where I live, probably 45 miles away, there's actually a sign called Old South Park, and I literally just want to build a small, cardboard cutouts of Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Penny and put it there for the heck of it. I would do that in a heartbeat if I was allowed. I don't know if they will appreciate it though. But has now been absurd in the city of Seattle. He also had records of over 400 known grave sites at the cemetery. Seattle residents often contacted Dickinson when they wanted to know more about their loved ones who may have been buried there, helping to keep a long forgotten part of the history alive. So it was only made sense that John would lead a fight against the city to recognize the Comet Lawn Cemetery. After the first two who have had no idea what lies just a few meters beneath their feet, Dickinson made sure they knew. After all, informed consent is a must. Nobody would want to live on a graveyard without prior knowledge. He penned a letter to the mayor in 1997, representing the 9 homeowners, asking to reimburse the part of the value of their homes. Over the years, Dickinson clashed with the city officials. They denied any knowledge of the cemetery, while his records clearly stated otherwise. He received donations and cease and desist letters from the city when he tried to tidy up the more neglected parts of the cemetery. Despite having a permit from the city to do just that, Dickinson worked on the Washington State Cemetery Board to keep further construction from taking place. They rescued headstones whenever they could. He even opened a virtual graveyard where loved ones can search online for records pertaining their ancestors. Eventually, the city caved in, partially. A group of high schoolers led an effort to restore the cemetery in 2002, collecting oral records from residents who had loved ones in the Comet lawns at the time. No, sorry. The city granted about 100,000 tours cleaning up the graveyard. They erected gravestones commemorating the people buried there. No, they weren't there at their exact locations. Today, houses on top of the area of the graveyard, while commemorative headstones marked at the existence of the Comet Lawn Cemetery. Only about a dozen gravestones now dot the Comet Lawns, despite them being home to over 400 souls. Hundreds of bodies lie beneath the soil atop Beacon Hill, belonging to both native blacksmiths and white settlers. The neglect and destruction of Comet Lodge Cemetery had awakened the spirits that was buried there. While their memory is slowly fading from Seattle's collective consciousness, most have begun showing themselves in an effort to stay alive. The cemetery had a section for children called Babyland, and as disturbing as that sounds, it was a place for the early settlers to honor their children, many, many of which did not make into adulthood. I mean, since back then, they didn't have all the medicine we have now, they didn't have amnesia, they didn't have anything. And if they had to get something amputated, they just had to bear through the pain because we didn't have all the stuff that we do now, which is very sad, actually. And I don't know about you, but I don't know if I want to feel that. The ghosts of their offspring have been known to appear late at night. Local residents claim to see a young pioneer children prancing through the graveyard, playing with toys, and sometimes playing hide and seek. Now, before we all continue, I just want to tell you something. I played hide and go seek in the graveyard with my sister when I was like 4 or 5. Her and her friends. It was an old cemetery. And at the time, I didn't know how stupid that was. So, yeah. But we were all playing hide and go seek in the cemetery, playing hopscotch on headstones that were faced flat on the ground. I did a lot of stupid things when I was younger. I can tell you that. But now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have. Some passerby have seen children dressed in period clothing peeking through the few headstones that remain. As for the lucky residents who live atop the Comet Lodge Cemetery, in addition to being lied to by the city government, they also inherited a spooky surprise. Some of the residents claim that their houses are haunted by the spirits of the cemetery. One woman in particular, those who hang on the Babyland, had reported frequency phenomena in their home, like lights turning on and off on their own, strange voices around her home at night, and dolls being moved on their own to other places. Now, if that actually happened, and I got a story to tell you when I'm done, I didn't have a camera recording back then. I wish I did, but I'll explain later. It was freaky. And strange, ghosts being moved from one place to another. They even seen the ghost of a little boy roaming her house at night. Seattle has a long history on which began way before the settlers landed on Akili Beach in the 19th century. Excuse me. The Duwatchments have called the city home for centuries, and their spirits still live on. Even though Seattle ever-changing landscape, Pike's Place Market is a must-see for tourists visiting Seattle. People have come from the fresh salmon, the live oysters, and delicious baked goods, as well as a dozen of magic shops, bookstores, and souvenir stands. But, but before the world-famous fish market was built on the first and Pike, a Duwatchment village started there, when the natives were forced to relocate. Kinky Solu, the daughter of Chief Seattle, refused to leave. Her spirit is just as strong as can be wandering the empty stalls of Pike's Place at night. Martha Washington Park was once an all-girls school where students were abused and neglected. But before that, it was a fishing spot and burial ground of the Duwatchments. The ghosts of young students, as well as native Duwatchments, all haunt the park after sundown. Now, we had a restaurant in North Plains that I really want to go to, but probably not for a while, as of everything going on right now. But the story I want to tell you. I had a Barbie doll on my vanity while I was cleaning my room, as at the time I just wanted to get rid of the main stuff, like putting the clothes away, putting the trash away, all that. And later that night, I sat on my bed playing my Pokemon game because I was cleaning my room and I was done for the night. And it was about 11:30, 12 o'clock, something like that. And I turned off my game for the night. Luckily, I saved it. I would have been pissed. And the fan wasn't on. And the door wasn't open. And no one was in my room but me. This doll didn't just fall off my vanity. It would have just been right in front of it. And my vanity mirror is, y'all saw that, right? Okay. My vanity mirror is right up against the wall, pretty much. And nothing would ever just fall off the vanity unless I bumped into it or somebody. This doll didn't just fall. It flew into the middle of the room. I watched it. I was frozen for like a millisecond, something like that. And I was just looking at the doll like, I wish I had this recording or my phone at the time. Like, like, I cannot stress how serious I am about this. And this happened like a while back, and I didn't have my sucking doll then, and if I did have my sucking doll, I would have been like, happy, but I didn't have him then. And yeah, y'all heard me right, I have a sucking doll. Maybe I should show it on a video one night, maybe on Halloween, who knows. But, I don't know. But that was like, I think I was still in high school at that point. Man, I'm old. But anyway, thank you guys for watching my channel and videos. And that's plain. Thank you guys for watching my channel and videos. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I am Haunting Girl, and I'll spook you later. The paranormal is my playground. Until next time, pleasant dreams.